Mottek on Money continues here in 790 KABC. Turning now to real estate. What do you need to know when you inherit a property here in Southern California? Many considerations, including how California's Prop 19 can change a property's tax situation. Let's bring in an expert now on this important subject and one of our great sponsors here on Mottek on Money on 790 KABC, Wedgewood Homes. Joining us live now is Kylie Moeller, Director of Market Acquisitions at Wedgewood Homes. Kylie, thank you very much for taking the call here this afternoon.
Frank, thank you for having me on your show. I'm so excited to be here.
Wonderful to have you with us here on this important issue. When people inherited a property, tell us what are some of the most important things for them to know?
Yeah, well, inheriting a home definitely has its nuances. So as you just mentioned, Prop 19 is a great thing for people to research because it will change your property tax situation if your home is inherited. And it's really important to understand when Prop 19 applies, as it will influence whether or not your taxes are fully reassessed to current market value. The other thing that I think is really important to understand is how your home is titled. And I think the important part of understanding is if it's titled in a trust or not. And if it's not, you might be going through the probate process, which can take months, as there are a lot of backups right now, especially in the LA County courts. And the last thing that I would say would be really important for people to research is, are there any open mortgages or liens on the properties, as those debts usually will stay with the property, and ultimately they will affect how much money you'll net if you do decide to sell.
Very interesting. So Prop 19, which was sold as a fire issue, right, originally to the voters, but it has a much larger impact. Prop 19 can change the property tax situation unless a family member actually moves in, right, as their primary residence.
Yes.
Is that how it works?
Yes, so it applies if the home was the parent's primary residence, if the child moves in and makes it their primary residence, and if the child files for a homeowner's exemption within 1 year.
Wow, so you really do need an expert like yourself to get through all of that, especially when you're inheriting a property. So, and a lot of this goes through probate, right? So you need somebody smart like yourself to get through all that.
Absolutely, yes. It can be a very complex process that does take a lot of time. And our team at Wedgewood Homes, we have a certified team of probate and trust specialists on hand to assist people when dealing with an inherited home. You want to make sure that you're talking to an expert because of these complexities. So it's very important that you're talking to experts, understanding if selling is the right option and what that means in terms of your tax implications as well.
On the air live with Kylie Moeller, Director of Market Acquisitions at Wedgewood Homes. And what about some repair work? What are you seeing out there that needs to be done or should be done before selling an inherited home?
Yeah, we get this question from time to time when speaking with people who are debating selling their home completely as is to us, or possibly even renovating it themselves. So bigger ticket items, think your roof, your HVAC, your foundation, that can really impact whether or not a buyer can obtain financing to purchase your property. So those would be things that take precedence. As far as cosmetics, though, it's not always necessary to address these cosmetic upgrades because a lot of buyers are willing to take on homes that might be stuck in the 1970s, especially in Los Angeles where the housing stock is older. So if you're thinking about selling, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to us at Wedgewood Homes first before making any major improvements, because we will get you our cash offer in as-is condition, meaning you don't need to do any repairs or have any out-of-pocket expenses, especially before you spend a lot of money, which might not even be necessary.
What about just the emotional part of all this? You deal with a lot of people who just lost a loved one, and now the house has been inherited. Can be emotional and overwhelming, right? Tell us how you handle those situations.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be very complex and emotional when you inherit a home, especially when you're now in charge of a property and you might not even necessarily be local to it. I think one of the most overwhelming parts of inheriting a home that we hear, and we talk to people who've inherited homes every single day, is what do I do with the personal property inside of the home? And I think you're dealing with families who have decades of belongings, trying to figure out what to do, which is it's a lot to process. So at Wedgewood Homes, we understand that can be a huge hurdle to selling, and that's one of the reasons we are happy to help a seller out with that. You can keep what you want. We will handle the rest when it comes to personal property, because that is such a huge, overwhelming part of the process for sure.
Absolutely. What is your guidance then when families are tempted to take everything out and put it in storage maybe, or sell it furnished as is? What's your guidance on all that?
Yeah, it really depends. If you want to skip the traditional listing process, then you can leave your belongings in the house if you're trying to sell your property as is to a cash investor like Wedgewood Homes. Otherwise, if you're going through the traditional listing process, it really is best to clear your home of the personal belongings, making it more show ready. And, both options are great, but some of those options don't work for people who aren't local, who can't manage moving the property into a storage or facilitating the sale of all of the personal belongings. So that's really where we come in, is we will hear you out. We will hear what your concerns are, and we'll walk you through what we think would be the best process for you, especially when just inheriting a home that does have a lot of property in it.
All right. How does it work? People hear me talking about it here on the air, of course. You do such an amazing job. And what about the process? How does it work with an all-cash offer there at Wedgewood Homes?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, Wedgewood Homes offers a no-obligation free consultation where our team of certified probate and trust specialists can work with you, guide you through the next steps, see if we are the best fit for you in terms of the cash offer. And we take it from there. We will come out to your property for a one-time showing. We will give you our all-cash offer. That is our firm number that you are going to take home, and you don't have to pay for any commissions, any closing costs, and you can pick your own timeline. So if you'd like to sell quickly, we can accommodate that, and if you need more time, we're happy to accommodate that. We try to make it as easy as possible for every seller.
All right. How is activity these days? Is real estate activity picking up? We're hearing about people picking up and leaving, eager to sell their places, right? So what's your view of what's happening out there at the moment?
Yeah. We track on a very micro level, too, of what's going on with inventory. We're starting to see a seasonal growth of inventory hit the market, which is to be expected around this time. Usually around springtime, more people are listing their house. Depending on where you are in Los Angeles, there's more demand. And so in some areas, we're still seeing multiple offers. In other areas, it's taking 40 to 60 days to sell your property. So it's a combination, but overall, we're not seeing any drastic changes, which is nice to see some stability.
Terrific, Kylie. Kylie Moeller, Director of Market Acquisitions at Wedgewood Homes. And for more information, call 800-619-7121. Again, that's 800-